What's going on, guys? It's Ben here from BH Aquatics. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are not already subscribed, make sure you do so. Give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more like it, because obviously this video is something new. I don't know, I just kind of wanted to get away from the old aquatic scene that I'm always showing you guys, so I decided, why don't I take you out into our family garden. My mom is really the one that keeps up with all the work in here, but I do have a couple of things that I consider to be my vegetable garden specialties. So, you know, we'll get into that. You'll get to see Rivendell, our pet rabbit. Yeah, she's right here. If you saw her, yeah, leave a comment down below. Tell me how cute she is, because she's awesome. So without further ado, let's get into looking at the garden. Alrighty guys, so starting out, I thought I might as well just start off with what I am kind of special with. Yeah, so this is the rhubarb plant. I have one here, I have one big one. These two are obviously the big ones, but this is the biggest, that's the second biggest, and that's the third biggest over there. I basically plant a new rhubarb plant a year, which means I split the roots of each rhubarb plant mostly off this big plant, and plant them somewhere else in the garden. This bed here is just like the different squash and stuff. For instance, my mom has like butternut squash and acorn squash in this. You can see a couple, you can see one right here, and let's see, you can see one way down here. So I mean, it looks pretty good. Obviously some of the leaves are yellow, but that's not that big of a deal, obviously, since we still are having some good growth with the different squashes that we're growing in this bed. Alrighty, this bed here is kind of a new bed. My mom planted all the peas that are in here. There's yellow peas, which is this plant in the middle, and green peas on either side. Added on to that, we have chili peppers and green peppers all planted over here. We don't have much harvest over there because Rivendell, the rabbit, which is that thing right there, she's an English Angora rabbit. When we let her run around in the garden, since it's all fenced in here, she'll eat the tops off of that, so we don't get much harvest from them. This is another one of my specialties. All around here, even though that nothing has sprouted quite yet, I planted Swiss chard. So that takes me, like, I think it said 60 to 75 days to come up. If it comes up by the end of the season, that's great, but if it doesn't, it was quite the try. So this here is my mom's herb bed. This is actually the origin of the garden here. My mom built all the garden around this one bed when I, yours truly, Ben Howard, decided that he wanted to get a chive plant, which was very small compared to how big it is now. It comes back every single year, just like the mint does and just like the sage does, and pretty much every herb we have in this garden. I feel like some herbs in this bed are not supposed to come back each year, but they do anyways, so that's interesting. The chives, they come back every year, and they're always bigger each year. I planted those when I was legitimately like 6 years old, so I'm very proud that that's still here in the garden. And as you can see, the mint is just spread throughout most of the bed. But we have sage, we have chives, we have parsley, we have thyme, we have, I think that's rosemary, but it could also be lavender, and we have mint. And this, I think dill is an herb. That entire bed in the back there is all dill. My mom's just letting it grow crazily. That is just all dill, the entire bed. No rhyme or reason to the bed. My mom doesn't want to weed it. My mom doesn't want to really take care of it. I don't really want to take care of it. I just know that when the dill gets taken out and mixed with cucumbers and make dill pickles, it's good. That's the only thing that I know. This bed here is like my mom's like duo bed. Carrots. Carrots. They tend to look like parsley. We're right next to the herb bed, so you know you can see the tops of the parsley and compare it to the tops of the carrots. Yeah, never mind, they don't really look like tops of parsley, but they look like the tops of cilantro. So you know, if you get the two confused, this is carrots. When you pull them out of the ground, they're orange. Cilantro is just like parsley, but looks more like this kind of leaf. We also have broccoli plants that we transplanted from another bed. They were doing terribly a couple days ago when we transplanted them, but now they're doing really, really good. Obviously, they look like sticks because they weren't really doing well in the other bed, but we're hoping that we are going to grow some broccoli. You can start to see a little bit of the like broccoli stuff on these leaves on this thing. So yeah, it looks like we're really going to get some growth. So this bed here is actually the bed that we transplanted those stick-looking like broccoli from. As you can see, there's still some remaining. All the space that's open right here is where we transplanted it from. But other than that, we have these I don't know the word for these. I do know, I just can't think of it right now, but climbing up these like ladder things in the middle are cucumber plants. We get tons of cucumbers. Maybe sometime I'll show you, we'll do a video of us harvesting the garden at the end of the season. We get tons of cucumbers. Right here we have, pretty sure this is arugula. Yeah, looks like arugula. So, or no, this is not arugula, sorry. This is spinach. Yep, this is definitely spinach. Not arugula, sorry about that. So this is all spinach here. My mom plants a lot of it, even though it's in a small area. This is actually a ton, because I like to eat it. It's good, especially when you're on like diets and stuff, doing like health, especially when you're like working out to bulk up. Spinach, kale, all that stuff is really, really good. This bed here is the last bed, but it is not the last of our vegetables that I'll be showing you. Well, actually fruits are remaining, but that's okay. We have romaine lettuce, which are these like little light green tufts. These small little plants are the eggplants. We actually planted them like a couple months back. We just have no luck whatsoever with eggplants. And the rabbit, who is now in her cage because she was eating the vegetables, she comes around and she nibbles off the leaves and like cuts these things literally in half. So we lose eggplant plants on a regular basis. Then we have these nice tomatoes. You can see that nice orangish red one, gonna be ripe soon. We have all these green ones all over it, so we'll have good harvest from there. Here's an herb. This is basil. This grows like crazy. The rabbit loves this. We feed the rabbit basil all the time. Yeah, and we just have another bigger tomato bush plant, I guess. These grow the smaller tomatoes, but as you can see, there's some really nice ripe red ones in there. We get tons, loads and loads of those. And last but not least, we have yet another one, a smaller version of this big one right here, with the same kind of tomatoes. And now we know what these tomatoes are. These are La Roma, the third red tomatoes. So it's pretty cool. And we also have more spinach planted all along here because, like I said, I love my spinach. Alright, so this is actually kind of cool. This is a grapevine that my great-grandfather gave my mom like 4 or 5 years back. And there's a really interesting story to this. He gave it to her when it was legitimately like this tall, like without joking around. It was actually this tall, the grapevine that, or the segment of the grapevine that he gave her. And she planted it. It grew every single year, and then this year, during the winter, it got like freezer burn or whatever like that. It froze and the entire plant died. But I mean like all the leaves died on it and stuff like that. Like it looks completely dead. But there were still a couple of sticks left. Well, fast forward to now, it literally has quadrupled in size since she got it all in this year. And we have an insane amount of grapes. You can actually see different bunches of grapes behind here. It's really, really cool. These are actually wine grapes here. We don't make wine, but my great-grandfather does, so we're just like a secondary producer for him. But apparently wine is our Italian family's trade secret, so that's pretty cool. Alrighty guys, so this is actually our compost pile. It's not that important compared to some of the other things, but I thought I might as well just show you since we have this big like vining plant growing in here. It's either squash, melon, or pumpkin. I'm not sure what it is, but it's growing in the compost pile. It's vining over the side, and it actually looks pretty cool. As you can see all the compost below the leaves. We actually have tons of different things that grow in here. For instance, we have tomatoes, we have onions that grow in here, we have peppers, different things like that. You can actually see some of the onions still growing down there. But then all of a sudden this vining plant just took over and everything else is dead, minus those few onions that are in the bottom corner. Our compost pile is pretty cool. It's actually built so that when the compost gets around like this high, like right above this, we can slide pipes in these holes so that they go across and it will like aerate the soil in the compost pile. So that's pretty cool. Overall, I think, though, that's pretty much it for this tour. Hope you guys enjoyed this August family vegetable garden tour. If you did, like I said in the beginning, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Like this video if you want to see more like it, since we do mostly do only aquatic videos. This is something just to change it up. And without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next Sunday.